What we are doing here today is we're going to go 30 minutes, and it's kind of a challenge, guys. Like, let's see if we could do it. 30 minutes. And the goal was to talk about the top 5 questions that we're seeing right now as we're opening in the practices. But we've already decided there's about 25 questions that we could actually address. But we're only going to go 30 minutes. As you can see, we're kind of between things and stopping here to have a conversation. So let me just start with Christina. I know you're in a car because you just went into a practice. They thought they were opening on Monday. They may not be opening on Monday because they're not prepared. So can you just get us started? Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing, and we can kind of start tackling some of the questions that we've talked about.
Yeah, so currently, I'm still consulting for practices in person in my state, and we are vamping up. We are expected to open on Monday and see patients. And so this week, everybody has just been getting ready. They've been going through their protocols and making sure that they have everything. And what we're finding is there is a lot of conversations that need to happen that have not happened. And so there's so much to reopening that maybe we don't even think about. And for this practice specifically, they actually had their office manager is out with COVID-19 right now. So they're trying to, and there's multiple practices, so they're trying to reopen without these systems in place and trying to figure it out. And so we don't want anybody to get stuck in these situations. And so there's a lot of difficult conversations that are coming up that I think is really important to go over. And so if you, wherever you are in the state, if you're starting to reopen, or if you have more time before you reopen, then lucky for you, because you get to have more time to have these conversations. So it'd be good to go through kind of what those difficult conversations that are coming up.
Right. What do you think the first one is then?
Well, so the first one is, and I think I'll take this one on. And we were just having a conversation about this because I also work for a distribution company, is managing expectations as far as who is allowed in the practice. So we used to have patients come in with their whole family, and we know that that's not acceptable anymore. So we want to make sure that we're having those conversations with our patients. But beyond that, who else shouldn't be coming into the practice? If your office manager's husband always comes in just to kind of see how everybody's doing, or grandma pops in, or your sales representative, your distribution sales representative walks in, what are the rules around that right now? We really want to be limiting the footprint in our practice, because if COVID-19 happens, we have to be able to trace everybody, and we have to be accountable for that. So I think a difficult conversation is, if you have a close relationship with a distribution company and your sales representative, is having that phone call with them to say, how are we going to do business moving forward? Do you have time in the morning or time at the end of the day that we do? Do we do Zoom meetings? I've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings. Or do we have scheduled times that we know exactly when you're coming in, so that I also have it documented that Christina came in this day at this time, and that's like the scheduled time that we have them. And those are, again, uncomfortable conversations, but we really want to choose discomfort when it comes to all of these conversations over animosity. We don't want to be backpedaling. We don't want to create, negativity in the relationships. We also don't want to put anyone at risk. So taking the first step and, reaching out to have those conversations with those people who might potentially be coming into the practice.
And one of the things that we're going to talk about, and Chastity will kind of go into the next question that we're seeing a lot of, is having the conversations proactively versus reactively. So if somebody walks in the door and they're just standing at the front desk, now you're like, okay, I didn't even know they were coming. So putting in precautions to make sure that that can't happen, and then having that conversation to say, can we schedule a time? Can we do it Zoom call? I've seen a lot of offices talk about, like, they're locking their front door with a sign that says call. Like, do the things that you need to do so the conversation isn't as awkward or hard because you were proactive about it.